that didn't confirm to like I literally was all changed. They were just like, yeah, take the word out.
Yeah, I saw that.
The change rules again.
I think they're gonna make
As a contract.
Another question I have.
yeah, take the word out. Unless they're using it.
I want to send this.
Are the changes consistent over time, or are they
No.
the person that?
If you try to find rhyme or reason to it,
I mean, just like if this whatever new change with you don't have that sentence, does every single person processing contract have that same?
like it's precedent.
Yeah. Or is it just the person that you process it for, like how they feel about it?
I would say the
Okay.
latter.
That's what somebody, people at the top have been there too.
I'm trying to ask for a discount on those sunglasses. She said, hi Mindy, we've confirmed all paperwork is correct on our end as well as order acknowledgement that we approved. I'm so sorry that these cannot arrive until my time. Can you please call me your
What kind of you ordering?
Well, I ordered more sunglasses, but they printed them white instead of orange, which I used to own a pair of glasses, and white on basically any color, especially black. You have to hit it twice for it to show up. And so I mentioned that.
Well, it'll be No, I mean,
$120. Sponsor Mobile's video podcast. And he interviewed one of our faculty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the battery.
So, hey, I think we're basically
Right.
Mandy, live stream. You
Yeah.
guys will pray about it? She set something up, but I don't understand.
YouTube, that's all.
We're gonna put the technologies in the widgets, right? That's how this works.
That's what he said.
It's in there. 2 times in 1 week, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Actually,
I thought they did it live, something else that I made it.
I'd be careful with that, that's like a laser range. It might not be all like that. I would definitely not eat anything called laser range. A little suspect, you know?
No, it's right outside.
I'm sorry, I'm Lizzie. Lizzie, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Okay. I made some vacations because.
So, I'm just gonna do the usual, sorry, it's not gonna answer here.
Have you met Caroline before?
Yeah, we're best friends, we talked like 15 seconds.
Perfect, awesome. Nice to meet you.
Letting me.
They make it sound so dark though. I mean, it's like, normally people don't let me.
I just saw the event. Oh, so you have to go.
we're working, police transparent.
Sorry, you can leave right
Well, either way.
Did you know your mobile situation? Seriously. Yeah, those more concussions than anything.
Okay, thank you very much.
Whatever.
And then
You're okay.
Oh, for the, some of those are free for your league member. Are you okay? I think right now we're up to 10% off membership. You go.
That's it.
Yeah. Any questions? Happy to answer them? Yeah.
I don't like any of them.
General membership. Office available. I might be doing that right now. 30% off. 112 per general, and the leads for your member, you get 10 days of extra free. And to attend for free, it's pretty much research. Any questions? Let me know.
You're live right now.
There's food over there. So.
What's that?
I was gonna ask them.
No pressure. Do I need to be standing somewhere?
I can start in.
Now you're good. Any questions? Any questions? Yep.
And again, this is why you and I look different. I eat at like 5 a.m., 7:30 a.m., noon, 3.
New York South.
Why would you eat?
Because I've seen this before. I lived down in Kyle,
Okay.
and so I've seen the commercial signs down there.
What do you think I'm gonna sign some?
Yeah, it's
Yeah. Trying to get into the.
Talk about your awards.
yeah,
It's moving.
It's going to be really amazing.
yeah, that's good.
I really don't. I really don't.
What's your,
I'm a relationship manager for a commercial bank.
Sure.
So,
But it's like a handful of those.
Yeah, we, previous laws, we started focusing on legal laws.
Any idea of food?
There's opportunity to.
Season with the
Yeah,
NSA
right.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing this?
See that?
What do you actually do?
And this is one of those times for doing a read hard at the opposite end of the spectrum. Because it's like,
Like all these industrial. I do it. We got.
this is our first every meal.
Family deal we would probably refer to.
Okay.
He does land and listings for sale.
There's a way to go.
Interesting.
If I could eat myself for nutrition. So here's the problem. This is about nutritional shots. This is about great nutrition.
It's not bad, necessarily, right?
Oh, no, it's
Here's a reason why I became a marathon runner because
Right.
I'm allowed to eat less
Yeah, we do.
because I'm going to go around 20 miles.
It's
You know?
at 10:30.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's about-
But then I don't do anything I care. Like I don't do anything.
Any questions you might have about AYC or anything general, just let me know.
Okay.
Yeah, refer to.
Yeah.
For 20 miles.
So this, still the speed trips once a month?
Yeah.
Okay.
Every
Buddy of mine,
last Wednesday from
who has one there.
Don't turn got a new job.
I got two of them when I was doing some years. I get good baffles, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
I go with my girlfriend.
Research.
You know, my friend bought a house.
What's the problem? I run 3 miles.
Somebody wanted to enter this company and
No, I think I did not, that was not on me. I did not complete it. It wasn't a normal, I was wrong to I got to like 16 miles. It wasn't so much.
Yeah, it never rained.
I could have kept my
No, sorry, next one.
What's Charlie in there?
Yes.
Good to see you. Do you know Daniel?
This is Friday, Saturday.
Yeah.
These are free foods. He's a man.
Okay.
Man with plan. Grab some food, we're gonna play for questions.
Hey, are we doing a class?
I think so.
Because I wonder if, yeah, that's what I was missing. Okay. I figured he was doing a lot about that, but I just wanted to touch, because I know that kind of got scheduled a little bit. Because I was like, it's not sweet, July 17th.
Temba is, yes, so I only
July.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that. That's for that.
It's like,
For the evening program.
it's half of every service. It's not. But anyway, I'll finish that.
Oh, we have some buses.
First question. It's like, systems.
So application is open. Session, August 30th, so.
Here we go. The thing you're all describing, that's exactly what. For the year? I think I do so much stuff with person too. And the more marathons and half marathons I run, the more I guess just change your personality.
Hello. We have 4 people who are selected from
You're the first one.
Yeah. Have you guys?
That's what it feels like. And like you can feel it for the first time, and you start making decisions based off that. I've never done that. Yeah, and they also usually people where
So I sent it out to our alumni.
he made fun of him once. Do you?
To our alumni meeting.
Let's not go there.
You have any contract? Yeah. And then I think Eric's Blair. Yeah, so I had asked David if he could,
I think I barely fit.
It was good. It's a little hot. Just getting to that point.
What about you?
Some people would
Yeah, so far.
It's a weird one.
Right.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, but we actually.
So that's what you do full time?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay, got it. What's your nonprofit?
Yeah, so. We're gonna talk to them about.
I never said
How'd you get into that?
Everybody else would say, yeah. Yeah, Rich is gonna win all that. Good. I was saying, I was only
How are you doing? How are you?
I'm Dave. So what's the name of the, that's the name of the nonprofit?
That's great. You're here in Austin.
So I gotta revive it, you know?
Oh, the piloting for that one? Yeah, you gotta have boots on the ground, right? You gotta check at least quarterly on everybody else. Make sure they yeah, yeah. How is it?
Everyone's different, so depending on what type of vacation
You want water or anything?
I got my own, man. I'm good. Thank you.
It's been around a while. But yeah, absolutely. Yeah, please. So you want to move right now.
customers don't want to connect the service to our direct service.
Yeah,
That's not really.
So we do, it's two things, one is, it's from, here also.
So the.
Long time no see. That's probably one of the reasons why we have two, really two.
I had twin boys. Now would be a four. They got about 3 or 4
Was it pretty good? How was it? I don't know, I mean, you come to the space that I'm in, but, David says, that was around the same place. That was great. It was fine, I mean, I'm an intern in my career. Yeah, sales played, yeah, I like him.
He and I would do the Texas Venture about the
I've had a lot of good conversations. I like how was
yeah, I just have a good experience with 7 grad students in business school.
Yeah, that's a good one. What I like about AYC is
Higher semester.
but a lot of it is
To test out with our customers.
I just feel like it's building much better which is good. Thank you. Hey, how's it going? Yeah, I met you last week. Chelsea. If you are, it's very nice to see you in Weston. I'm also manager. Hey, what's up, man? Nice to meet you, Weston. Nice to meet you. How's your week going so far?
It is good.
Good. Staying busy?
Yeah, we're in the middle of planning our first annual fundraiser back competition.
Oh, cool.
Where
is that going to take place?
Down in Emmis.
Okay.
Turning 9 holes into par 3s and
Few months on this.
we wanted our attendees to experience the effective vision impairment on such a site as so a lot of our doctors, when we asked what do you guys do with education, they said that's
Awesome. What?
So every time we have a presentation, we do vision impairing testing.
Awesome. How long have you been doing that? Okay. Isn't that a weird question and just thing to think about? Graduating college, I'm now at 6 years since I graduated. It just gets longer and longer every year. It's scary to think about. Yeah, or learn to not schedule 8 a.m. classes, sleep in until 9 or 10 and go to your 10:30 class. I learned that at a very young age. But I left there and I was really
In college, I was the early birds, like the morning classes were open all the midnight, like I take it actually down,
yeah, I was the opposite until the real world hit, and then I learned how to be an early riser.
How was your week treating you?
Good. Staying busy. Speaking of early, was it a 7 a.m. breakfast group today? So
That's always fun.
up and down.
I was at room house.
So you got to go out late yesterday after work.
I know, it's there.
So it was fun. Golfing after work today. So
I literally,
I'm working a little. Nice to say. You gotta enjoy the rewards of the hard work, though. I know we were on the east side last time. How long is this organization you guys Need more leaders like yourself? Do you get funding through the city or state?
Revenue from making it more direct service, but since we work on like calendar schedule, we're in school academically, we have some this is our chance to right now we're doing our major how to get all of our equipment maintenance service, secure our contracts.
Hey everybody, how are y'all doing? I want to thank you all so much for coming this afternoon, and Decker for sitting in the front row and being the only brave soul to do so. My name is Mac Laser. I'm the Executive Director of the Austin Chamber of Commerce. It's really my pleasure to be here in front of y'all and just talk a little bit about what AYC is up to right now. The most important thing I want to talk about is the AYC FAVE Awards. The nominations for those are open right now. FAVE stands for Favorite Austin Venture and Enterprise, and this is one of those few things that our generation, the millennial workforce, has an opportunity to say that these are our favorite things, these are the favorite businesses of Austin, for Austin, by Austin, and be a voice to sort of put our seal of approval. This is a young city, and there's no other awards in the entire city like these. So nominations are open right now. I think they go for like another 10, 15 days. And then after that, it's going to go into a voting process by members only. So right now, if you're not a member, this is an opportunity to get your voice heard. After that, if you want to be the person that puts your seal of approval on it, you have to be a member. And if you're interested in that and you're not a member already, don't worry, we'll communicate with you about 1,000 times between that opportunity. So before we kind of go into the program, we'd like to practice what we preach here at AYC. We believe in community engagement. We believe in being career focused and community focused. So thinking about our careers and being career driven, we've got great partners at UT, both the Macomb School and MSTC program. And without them, this program would not be possible. So they're the reason for the lunch spread. They're the reason we got great speakers like Daniel teaching us a lot of great things. Don't be flinching. You got a lot of time to prove yourself. So because we appreciate them so much, we want to give them an opportunity to talk about their programs and any deadlines coming up. So anything I want to share? Come on, yeah.
Come up here.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm Rebecca St. Nicholas with Texas MBA. We have 6 different formats for our program. The one I want to talk to you about today is our evening program. It's perfect for young working professionals who want to continue working while getting their MBA from Macomb School of Business at UT. As I said, it's an evening program, so our classes are Monday and Tuesday evenings, and the program is 2.5 years. We have lots of info sessions, class visits, Ice Cream Connects, where you can come talk to current students to learn more about the program. We will be hanging out here also, so if you have questions, feel free to visit us after this. We actually have an info session tonight, so if you find yourself free around 7 o'clock and want to go over to campus, come visit us and hear more about our program. And then also our application is still open for this cycle, so you have plenty of time to go take your GRE or your GMAT, get your application submitted, and come talk to us. We would love to hear from you. Thanks. Go ahead.
I will second that. I used to be the director of that program. It is a great program. But now I'm the director of the Texas MSTC program. How many have heard of MSTC? Awesome. That's great to hear. For those who don't know, that's Master of Science in Technology Commercialization. So a one-year master's program designed to help you take your technology, your idea, your product to market. It's designed for working professionals, just like the evening program. It meets on Friday afternoons and all day Saturday, alternating weekends for 1 year. So start in May and the following May. Our application is also open. We have an information session in August on campus, August 30th, I believe. We're going to have one here at the Capitol Factory in July. So we're working on that date right now. You can check our website at texasmstc.org for that date. We'll also be around after for questions, but thanks for coming today.
In full disclosure, I'm actually planning on applying for MSTC this year. So I'm a big fan of what they're doing, and it took 4 years of being ED and hearing about the program over and over and over again, and now I'm sold. So I obviously am super biased. So being super biased, we also have a friend and a partner, Daniel, who is going to be talking to us a little bit about sort of the Incite program and social give back and how we can market ourselves in those ways. Be ready to pepper him with questions. He's not just our speaker today, he's also a member, and he's highly involved in our leadership service committee and really focusing them on giving back to the community in a lot of ways. So he's practicing what he preaches to, and I'm really happy that he's spending his time, I don't know, his time with us this afternoon. So thanks y'all for letting me babble and forget what I'm saying halfway through, and Daniel, thanks, I appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate y'all having me out, Matt and AYC for inviting me, and then all of you guys for showing. I know probably not anyone in here, when they saw Daniel Sahl was the speaker, knew who that was. So I'm humbled that you all showed up and took time out of your day to be here. Just so you have a little background on who I am a proud UT alumnus and graduated from there in 2003. I started working for Emmis in 2003, directly after I graduated. I did sales for one of their radio brands for about 10 years, and then took over to lead the Incite division there at Emmis for the past 3 years, basically. So Emmis is the only company I've ever worked for. So either that means it's a great company to work for, or I don't know any better. I like to think it's a great company to work for. Other people tell me that have worked elsewhere. So in terms of what Incite does, the easiest way to say that in a brief statement is I spend time creating marketing campaigns for organizations that help them produce results. But at the same time, our goal is always to positively impact this community through those campaigns. I didn't really have a title for this presentation. What you're seeing here, engage people, inspire belief, incite action. That is our tagline. So call it lazy, call it whatever you want. I will say the goal of this presentation would be for you to engage you all, to inspire you all, and hopefully by the end of our time, you're coming away from here and you're actually doing something. That I'm encouraging you to take positive action. And the way to do that, hopefully what you'll gather from this, the best way to do that, to have the most impact, is through your organization. So before I get into it, I don't know if any of y'all have ever seen this video. This is a 2-minute, 57-second video, so it's short and sweet. I wanted to start with this. Hopefully audio video works out.
If you've learned a lot about leadership and making a movement, then let's watch a movement happen, start to finish, in under 3 minutes, and dissect some lessons. First, of course, a leader needs the guts to stand alone and look ridiculous. But what he's doing is so simple, it's almost instructional. This is key. You must be easy to follow. Now here comes the first follower with a crucial role. He publicly shows everyone else how to follow. Notice how the leader embraces him as an equal. So it's not about the leader anymore. It's about them, plural. Notice how he's calling to his friends to join in. So it takes guts to be a first follower. You stand out, you brave ridicule yourself. Being a first follower is an underappreciated form of leadership. The first follower transforms a lone nut into a leader. If the leader is the flint, the first follower is the spark that really makes the fire. Now here's the second follower. This is a turning point. It's proof the first has done well. Now it's not a lone nut and it's not two nuts. 3 is a crowd, and a crowd is news. A movement must be public. Make sure outsiders see more than just the leader. Everyone needs to see the followers, because new followers emulate followers, not the leader. Now here come 2 more people, then 3 more immediately. Now we've got momentum. This is the tipping point, and now we have a movement. As more people jump in, it's no longer risky. If they were on the fence before, there's no reason not to join in now. They won't stand out, they won't be ridiculed, and they will be part of the in crowd if they hurry. But for the next minute, you'll see the rest who prefer to stay part of the crowd, because eventually they'd be ridiculed for not joining. And ladies and gentlemen, that is how a movement is made. So let's recap what we've learned. If you are a version of the shirtless dancing guy, all alone, remember the importance of nurturing your first few followers as equals, making everything clearly about the movement, not you. Be public, be easy to follow. But the biggest lesson here, did you catch it? Leadership is overglorified. Yes, it started with the shirtless guy, and he'll get all the credit, but you saw what really happened. It was the first follower that transformed a lone nut into a leader. There's no movement without the first follower. See, we're told that we all need to be leaders, but that would be really ineffective. The best way to make a movement, if you really care, is to courageously follow and show others how to follow. When you find a lone nut doing something great, have the guts to be the first person to stand up and join in.
So anybody ever seen that video?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't really show that just for the content that it included. I think it's just a funny video. Good comedic relief in there. No, I mean, the reason I start with that is, let me get it off this page. It's a little distracting. The reason I started with that is I just want to pause and want y'all to think about where you're at and also where your organization is at. It's probably one of 3 places. You're either sitting on the grass watching something great happen, you're a follower participating in something great that's already taken place, or you're one of those first followers trying to make something great happen, or you're a leader and you've got a group of followers all around you that you're embracing, and or you're a lone nut all by yourself. But you're in one of those. You and your organization are in one of those 3 places. I want you to think about where that is, because the goal would be to create something huge like what you saw there. And the other thing that's pretty obvious, but it's worth pointing out, is your impact. You can be doing a lot of great things on your own. So in my time at Emmis, the first 10 years, I spent a lot of time doing solo volunteer work, which please don't take this as that being a bad thing and you shouldn't do that. I volunteered at Helping Hand and did a number of other things. But what it took me a while to learn is that if I wanted to have a truly big impact, that it needed to be through my organization. And the more people that we could get on board, the greater our impact could be. So what I want to talk about today, spend some time talking about if you're sitting on the grass and you're not involved and your organization's in the same boat, like why does it make sense to get involved and to take action? After that, we'll talk a little bit about advice on how to take action. I hate the words best practices, but some tips on how to take action. And then I'll show you some examples in action. So starting with why you would take action. The first thing at Incite that we always lead with is, and it's what we should be leading with, it's the reason we're doing this is to positively impact the community. Austin's a pretty great place, so that's, you say that statement and people are like, I don't know how you could make this place any better to live. I love living in Austin. People keep moving here. If anything, we need to make it worse to live here so people stop moving here. So for every best of list that Austin tops, and there's like a new one every single week, there are some issues that need to be dealt with in our community. With all of that growth and all of these people flooding in, all of you know Central Austin is beyond ridiculous to afford now. So Austin is now #1 for economic segregation. Meaning what's happened is lower income families have been forced to the outskirts of Austin. And so a result of that happening is their ability to access healthy, affordable food is limited. So 1 out of 5 Travis County residents are food insecure, is what that means. The result of that is 3 out of every 4 deaths in Travis County are chronic disease. So poor nutrition is one of the leading causes of chronic disease. 3 out of 4 deaths in Travis County are because of that. This is just one example, but Austin's not a perfect place to live, and there are plenty of ways that you and your organization can positively impact this community, and we all live here and work here. Why not make it the best place possible? Beyond that, you can positively impact your bottom line. So there was a survey that was done by Cone Communications recently, and I'll ask you all the question, but do you know if your organization offers a product or service and you have a competitor that offers that same product or service, it's relatively equal in price and quality and all of those factors, what percentage of people would choose yours if you were supporting a cause and your competitor wasn't? Throw out some percentages.
70.
70, 50. So the answer was 90. So 9 out of 10 consumers would switch brands to one that is associated with a good cause, given similar price or quality. I say this with a caveat. So if your only reason for taking action is to positively impact your bottom line, your chance of success is slim to none. So people, including your customers and your employees, will see through something that isn't genuine. And in order for this to work, you cannot have this without wanting to positively impact the community. But this is a factor. And the people up top like to hear this within your organization. Another reason, same exact study, but let me make sure I get the percentage correct. So what percentage of consumers do you think would choose to work for a socially or environmentally responsible organization, even if the salary was less than other companies?
60.
Man, who said that? That's close. It's 2% off.
Nice.
So 62% of consumers would work for a socially or environmentally responsible organization, even if the salary was less than other companies. So if you find yourself working for an organization you're not happy, you can't figure out why you're not satisfied, yeah, sure, it might be pay, whatever. But a factor could be, look around and see what the culture is like, see what they support, see if they are a socially or environmentally responsible organization. If you're up top in management or an owner and a bunch of people are leaving and you can't recruit good talent, this is a good place to look.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
You want to do questions, whatever?
Yeah, whenever is fine.
What makes it genuine? Because I think I agree with these numbers, but I also see a lot of companies and doing social good, but you can tell it's so fake. So what sets something apart?
Can we go through the how-to, and if I haven't answered it, because that's included in there, which is coming up now. So you get all the reasons why you should do this. You think it's a great idea. What's the best way to go about doing this? How to take action. So like I already mentioned, you got to have buy-in from the top. I don't know where you guys are within your organization. I'm like middle management. It doesn't matter where you are, I guess, is the main takeaway. But it does matter if you don't have buy-in from the top. This is critical because they need to be endorsing this movement. They need to be a part of this. And if it's only you driving it and you're not at the top, the chances of success are not high. They don't have to be involved in every step of the process, but they need to be endorsing it. So how do you get them involved? Give them the reasons why. Those 3 reasons I just went through: positively impact the community, increase your bottom line, and recruit and retain good talent. Generally, any individual who's in upper management or an owner of an organization would want to do those things. If they don't, you might want to consider looking for another job at a different organization, because you'd want to be working for an organization that does care. And then ask them for feedback. So it's important to know what they care about. Are there causes that they're concerned with that are important to them that, hey, if our organization rallied behind these, we would make a significant impact? If they know what we're about to do is going to positively impact something they care strongly about, they're going to buy in. Step 2, take a look around you. So I know this is about positively impacting the community, but it's also about positively impacting your bottom line. So it wouldn't make the most sense to find a cause that your closest competitor owns and is doing already. So you need to take a look around, find out what causes your competitors support, what position do they own, so what is their mission, what is their vision, and then how are they promoting it. It'd be good to know, what sorts of ways are they owning their position and how do they promote that, how do they tell potential customers about that. Next step, and this is going to answer your question, but you also need to get buy-in and feedback from employees and customers. So it's very simple to do a Survey Monkey. We did this at Emmis, and I will say, typically when we do surveys within our organization, the response rate is low, and that's normal. You're not going to get a ton of response, but for this specific survey that we did, we were blown away with the amount of people that responded, the amount of people that cared, and we're actually really excited that this was finally happening. All you need to ask is, hey, what causes do you guys care about? How do you like to support those causes? Do you prefer monetary donations? Do you prefer actually showing up and volunteering? Because that'll dictate what sorts of things you set up for your organization. And then do you want to be a part of this? And that's not really you're assuming they do, but you want them to say, yeah, I want to be a part of this, so that when you ask them to be a part of it, they say yes. That's all that is. But both for your employees as well as your customers, if you know what they care about, then it's genuine. You have what your employees care about, your customers, what the people up top care about, and you just put it all together. And that leads you into this, creating some sort of positioning statement, a vision statement, a mission statement, whatever you want to call it. You need to have, what is your mission? What is it that you're going to focus on? And how can others be involved? What's great about this is it's going to help you narrow your focus to produce, you guys know the expression, narrow focus yields broad results. So a lot of the times what I run into when we go and meet with organizations is they're doing a ton of great work, but they're working with 20 to 30 partners. So a lot of that comes from so-and-so comes to the manager and says, hey, my son's softball team has this thing going on, will you support it? And it just keeps snowballing and nobody's saying no, and before you know it, you have a list of 20 to 5 causes your company's supporting. What I am suggesting is creating a vision and a focus, because focusing your efforts on 2 or 3 organizations is going to have substantially more impact than focusing on 20 to 50. That's just a fact. And beyond that, when people approach you for, hey, would you support this cause? It's, hey, we have this vision and here's our focus and this doesn't fall within that. I'm sorry, we can't. Like, here's who we do, what we do focus on. It gives you a filter. And that's the difficult part. There may be some analysis and adjusting of current partners, and that's not an easy process. There's some organizations that you may have relations with that go way back, and based on what you've discovered, it may not make sense for them. And I'm not saying you need to cut ties completely, but I am suggesting you need to focus your energy and your impact towards those organizations that you care about, your customers care about, and that are going to have the biggest impact on our community. Local's huge, and when you analyze your partners, they should be local. Not saying they should always be this way, but anything we do, we recommend partnerships with local organizations. We're from here, we work here, we live here, we want to make this place awesome. And then is it mutually beneficial? So are the partners you're working with appreciative of your support? I know that sounds odd to say, but you can run into situations where you're doing all this great work for a nonprofit or cause, and there's no reciprocation, there's no appreciation for that support. It could be based on the fact that they're getting so much support, or they just don't have enough resources to show that appreciation. But if you are dedicating a lot towards a cause, there should be some reciprocation from them on promoting that support to their donors and helping you in return. That's what that point means. And so if you're on board with everything I've said and you feel like you and your organization are doing all of these steps wonderfully and this has been a complete waste of your time, hopefully this last step is one that you haven't thought of or that you aren't doing, and it's the one that I spend the most time on when I do talk to organizations. Typically, an organization has their community impact over here and their marketing over here, and they're two completely separate things. So, you know, you've got your community impact person, and their job is to organize all these outings and relationships with partnerships, and you've got your marketing person over here, and their job is, hey, we need to increase our sales by 10% this year for this specific product. What I suggest is combining the two. I mean, it's cause marketing. It's taking a cause that you are passionate about, adding in your brand, and when you combine the two, it's cause marketing. So there's thousands of nonprofits in Austin, thousands, and hardly any of them have a marketing budget that's of any kind of substance to promote what they do and try to drum up volunteers and donations. So simply having a regular giving pattern towards a cause is great, and I'm not suggesting that you don't do that. What I'm suggesting is you talk about that. And it's not bragging. It's saying, hey, we as an organization support such and such cause, and here's why, but it's giving them a voice, and it's giving them a marketing campaign that they otherwise wouldn't be able to afford on their own. At the same time, it's giving potential consumers another reason to do business with your organization. So it's win-win, it's mutually beneficial. So this is just all about amplifying impact. So take what you're doing and amplify it. Come up with a communication plan, exactly what I just described for your customers. How are you talking about your community impact? Communicate it to your employees. That sounds silly, but some organizations don't spend a lot of time telling their employees what they are doing and how they can be involved. You got to encourage participation from your employees and customers. If you did pay attention to that video, they mentioned embracing your followers, making it easy to follow. So you got to give people a clear and easy way to be involved. And that's my last point there. So remember, if you remember anything from this presentation, the more followers you have, the more people who are involved, the greater impact is going to be. So this is all about driving impact through your organization. So I wanted to spend a little time just showing you some examples in action. Subaru, have any of y'all heard of their Share the Love campaign? It's a huge national focus of theirs. But part of this, I mean, it's not their sole focus, but it's hard to think of Subarus and not think of pets. Especially here locally, if you think of Austin Subaru, they have a long-standing relationship with Austin Pets Alive and really helped put that organization on the map through doing exactly what I described, incorporating them into their standard marketing messages. But this Share the Love campaign, there is a need to focus on pets. So the solution they came up with was this campaign, and it's simply if you buy a new vehicle, they'll donate $250 of that to the charity of your choice. And let me show you this. This is the campaign that when I talk about how you're communicating this to customers, this is the result of that.
Take a good look around, and if you're looking down, put a love in your heart. Let's start living it out. Here we go. I hope when you decide,
kindness will be your guide.
Put the love in your heart.
And the world will be a better place.
And the world will be a better place.
For you. And me.
Just wait.
And sing.
Oh yeah.
Put a little love in your heart. In your heart. people like these.
So when you talk about impact, they got their customers involved and have now donated over $90 million through this campaign. That's huge impact. And I know you may be thinking that's a huge national brand, there's no way our local organization can do that. That's false. It may not be $90 million, but there's still ways on a local level. Like I said, Austin Subaru has simply taken this campaign and localized it and partnered with APA, and is doing great things for them. So results of that, they did experience a 3-year run of record financial results, so it did increase their bottom line up through last fiscal year. And they have donated nearly $20 million specifically to ASPCA. And the final example I'll show you is Dove. And what's unique about this example is it doesn't need to be a nonprofit. So I just showed you an example of partnering with a cause or a nonprofit. This is just partnering with a cause that's all about beauty. So they realized self-esteem was an issue, and they founded the Self-Esteem Project in 2004. And it delivers self-esteem education to young people, primarily girls, aged 8 to 17 years. I wanted to see if I brought those stats with me, because they're pretty staggering. I did not. I don't want to try to quote them because I might miss them, but it's a huge issue among young girls, and just what society's definition of beauty is and what the actual definition should be. Dove recognized that. It's a beauty product, so it makes sense. So I'll show you how they communicated that to customers.
I'm a forensic artist. Worked for the San Jose Police Department from 1995 to 2011.
I showed up to a place I'd never been, and there was a guy with a drafting board.
We couldn't see them, they couldn't see us.
Tell me about your hair.
I didn't know what he was doing, but then I could tell after several questions that he was drawing me.
Tell me about your chin.
It kind of protrudes a little bit, especially when I smile.
Your jaw.
My mom told me I had a big jaw.
What would be your most prominent feature?
Kind of have a fat, rounder face.
The older I've gotten, the more freckles I've gotten.
I would say I have a pretty big forehead.
Once I get a sketch, I say thank you very much, and then they leave. I don't see them.
All I had been told before the sketch was to get friendly with this other woman, Chloe.
Today I'm going to ask you some questions about a person you met earlier, and I'm going to ask you some general questions about their face.
She was thin, so you could see her cheekbones. And her chin, it was a nice, thin chin.
She had nice eyes. They lit up when she spoke.
Cute nose.
She had blue eyes, very nice blue eyes.
So here we go. This is the sketch that you helped me create, and that's a sketch that somebody described of you.
So yeah, that's...
She looks closed off and fatter. Sadder, too. The second one looks more open, friendly, and happy.
I should be more grateful of my natural beauty. It impacts the choices and friends that we make, the jobs we apply for, how we treat our children. It impacts everything. It couldn't be more critical to your happiness.
Do you think you're more beautiful than you say?
We spend a lot of time as women analyzing and trying to fix the things that aren't quite right. And we should spend more time appreciating the things that we do like.
So that was a super powerful message. As the dad of a 7-year-old and a 2-year-old daughter, like, I don't know how I'd ever buy another brand of soap. It's like, are you kidding me? Even if it was next to a cheaper version, like we just talked about, there's power in that, and it's brilliant. It's the results of that. It's one of the most viewed shared videos ever. They reached 20 million people to date with self-esteem education. So remember, you're talking about that slide I showed you on how to amplifying your impact. You have to communicate it. And the results of that, they've reached 20 million people today with self-esteem education, which is awesome. Bless you. And I'll share, at Emmis, again, I already said, I'm middle management, I'm not no one super important there. But when I started this role and I realized, I'm talking to people about doing this, one of the things I noticed is our organization does a tremendous job of positively impacting the community. We're doing a ton of awesome stuff. We're not communicating it to our employees as well as we should, and we're definitely not communicating it to our customers. So in case you're wondering whether this is all, wishful thinking or if it can actually happen, it's happened where I work, and we went through this exact same process. Every single step that I just went through is something we've done at Emmis, and I couldn't be prouder to be a part of it. We now have a committee that's like 15 to 20 people, employees just like me, that we meet once a month, and we're talking about things like, one of our projects right now is how's Emmis going to respond to the next natural disaster? Because one will happen, and we're a communications company, and our role is to feed information to the 500,000 plus people that hear our stations every week. So instead of us being reactionary, let's, when the next one happens, have a switch we flip, and we're the first ones delivering information that people need. So things like that, it took getting more people involved, and there's a separate committee that's working on that specific project, but we can accomplish so much more. Third bullet there, if you remember anything, you can do a lot of great things on your own, but you can achieve substantially more if you're working through your organization, and you have substantially more followers. That's all I had, guys, and if y'all have any questions, I'm happy to stick around. If not, I'll be quiet and sit down. Yeah.
I'm curious what the stats are, say during a down economy. Do the numbers still hold true, or do people kind of throw everything out the door and they just care about the cheaper price?
I don't know. I don't know the specific answer to that question. I'm sure there is some of that. I'm sure there is some of that. Yeah.
You mentioned that you went through a process of identifying local organizations that Emmis supports. What organizations do you support?
It was extremely difficult. In our case, it was a little more complex than what I just went through because we have 7 brands. So if you don't know much about Emmis, we've got 7 radio stations here in Austin, and each station caters to a different audience. So we had to sort through, it's basically 7 organizations that we had. So I know I talked a lot about narrowing your focus. We were able to narrow it down to 4 areas, which are the environment, military, pets, and basic needs. Those are our 4 areas that we focus on. And then underneath each area we have causes that we support. But, specific causes that we support on a regular basis, HAM is big for us, Make-A-Wish is big for us. Keep Austin Beautiful under the environment. Those are a few.
I manage communications for a nonprofit, so I'm coming from a slightly different perspective. And one of the things you talked about with evaluating your relationships with nonprofits is, evaluating whether you're getting enough appreciation and you're getting enough out of that relationship. So, coming from the nonprofit side of that equation, what's something you look for in that relationship? Like, how do you want that appreciation to be done?
Just responsiveness, and nonprofits have support and following, so just if they're mentioning that relationship in emails they're doing, in social media, if it's included on the website, nothing that you're probably not already doing, but you'd be shocked that some people aren't doing that. But just any way that you market as a nonprofit, I mean, you're seeing what AYC is doing here with showing appreciation to their sponsors. It's just finding ways to bring that up. And another thing I'll say, you know, from your, I didn't spend, is there anybody here that does marketing for their organization? That's their specific role is marketing? I could have done a whole separate presentation on effective ways to market. I will say, first I'll direct it towards you. You know, one of the things you can do is if you do have organizations that do support you, for-profit businesses, you know, a lot of times the way we'll deal with that, if I'm talking to a nonprofit, we have thousands of advertisers at Emmis that they just do general advertising. They're for-profit companies. And a lot of those advertisers are supporters of potentially your nonprofit. So the easiest way to make this a reality is for us to sit down together and say, okay, who are your supporters? You know, the biggest for-profit supporters that you have, and let's talk to them. They're already doing business with us. Why don't we talk to them about incorporating the relationship that they have with you into their marketing? That's the easiest way to bring this to life. Mm-hmm. And then in terms of what that campaign should look like, the formula we found that we use in every campaign we create is it being local. So we always lead with local, using local media. We think that's the most effective way to reach people. It's hard to replicate local media and the relationship that, if you think about radio, the relationship that people share with their favorite personality. That's a very intimate relationship. We try to use influencers, meaning local celebrities. We think that one of the most effective ways to get people to change a behavior or take positive action is for it to come from someone that people look up to and respect. So we try to use local celebrities, and then we try to use multimedia. So as many different types of media to reach people as possible. People are busier than ever, and focusing on just one type of media is not going to get the job done. Any other questions?
Thanks.
All right. Appreciate it. Do I say something to close, or should I sit down?
We started 15 minutes early. We're leaving 15 minutes early, so thanks for coming, y'all. Please eat some food, and thanks for having a great day.
Saturday night.
Okay. I like keep in touch on that. What is it? I'd love to sounds like a fun way to get some money, which I'm always in for.
One way to make a positive impact.
Exactly.
Great to see you again. We'll see you after church.
Thanks so much. My name's Judah.
Nice to meet you, man.
This was really good. It's the last company I was at was kind of trying to get something going like that. We struggled with a lot of the issues that you addressed. But then I'm no longer there, and the program didn't end up working out. But I mean, it was spot on. What you?
I have a lot of great takeaways. It's good to hear, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm curious, what would you say? So I agree that the local part is really important. When I see some, I actually see them in the neighborhood, and I partner with them. What would you say if it's like a software company that's, it's international or even international? Really, the local market is not relevant. You gather. Hey, how are you doing?
Great.
So, any type of single place. So, and they're based in Austin. So you maybe they have some clients here, but most of them are in.
Yeah, what are you up to?
I moved back.
Next to. This is theoretical, but I've been in these situations.
No, I understand. There are plenty of companies like
I was in Memphis, and then Orgasm.
I know they're,
It was good.
well, now they have morning sales there, but
Really
they do
exciting.
sales locally. And next time, so we're going to be
Now you're back, welcome back. What brings you back?
It's denied it's been a while, so I mean, time is.
We had so much
But
talking about with increasing
I work at a co-working space
the only reason they want is
impact social good, so that's what I wanted to
organization.
do.
Sure, you guys like.
And yes, I love my big day.
I definitely see your organization. It's kind of carrying
Yeah, I'm really great. It's still here. This is still good. Yeah, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. Those are my two big changes.
Okay, so your new job, so new terms. How long were you at that previous job? What's my
I left the magazine
Thanks for coming out.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you always had you've always had a big heart for, I could tell, like, even in your magazine stuff, that like,
this is a better fit for me personally. Yeah.
great to run into you.
Yeah, great to see you.
And what's
If you ever need a place to work, I float between our Monroe space and our co-working. Yeah.
And where?
So it's right off South First Street.
Who's at the south side of the
Yeah, so you go Ash River. Yeah, and I look over and I don't even know where we are. So basically, go past the river on South First Street, and then once you pass away in Elizabeth Street, you have to take a left on Monroe, we're right there.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I split my time between South River, where I live, and also where I live on Springdale, Canopy, East Side.
I love to
I would suggest
great to see you. Tell Molly, I mean,
I will. I'll tell you something when I ran into each other. It's too funny.
And y'all still, well, I'm curious, because I'm going to be Pal's wedding.
Oh my God, he's getting married.
He's getting married.
He's getting married. Oh, tell myself congrats. I haven't been in forever. Like, I just lost touch with everybody at the MC. Oh, that's so great.
I'm really excited for him.
That's huge. Yes, that's awesome. Oh, I'm telling you both say congrats. Molly's going to be just as happy. Yeah.
All right, well, take care.
Yeah, you too. Bye.
Yeah, it's just kind of, I know you guys are already promoting organization. What's
you guys do a lot to support us. Did you know photography might actually benefit your guys' too?
So change the message to be like, we support you.
It could be a 10 to 15 second ad when they're there. They're aggressive. It's all about what they do and their so and so is a proud supporter. Be sure to check out their it's as easy as that.
Well, then I'm talking to their marketing department next week, so perfect timing. Well, thank you. I enjoyed your presentation.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Hi, Catherine with Impact Hub.
Okay.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Thanks for speaking. I want to give up my card.
Okay.
So Impact Hub is a global co-working organization all about social good, global impact, and then the other half of us is Gather, which is events. So curious with you guys with all these initiatives, do you do any regular events or team building, brainstorming, things like that?
You're talking about Emmis specifically? We do events all the time. I don't know the pretty events you're talking about. You're talking about like events specific to
No, basically so the whole alignment and how you guys
Yeah, what I'm going is
looking to make impact, that's kind of what our whole space is about.
Okay, sounds good.
But we have people that care about making impact don't care about the gym, that come and host events in your space. So what I'm thinking is,
the real difference between
if you guys host space or host events, maybe we
You know,
could
yeah,
get you
that's
guys
what
in
I-
space and who knows what.
If I'm being real,
And maybe
that's
you're
right.
not the right person to talk to, maybe there's like a office manager, events team.
So executive
marketing people.
you can take
The
electives.
kind of events that I was thinking about
Okay, and
first is like
everything for
Breeze on the Green is
evening,
not
it's set.
it's a massive event. But what
don't
you're
have
talking about is this would be in bed.
And it's
Similar
2
to
years.
this, maybe.
Our electives.
Right, more like internal, not so much
No,
like
it's
a
part of,
horizontal.
you get to choose, and
Yeah.
there's certain ones that you can pick from, and they take those in the summer.
Yeah, I mean, every internal event that I can think of today,
And then
we've
there's
done
an
at our
entrepreneurship one that they
office
take with,
location, at our
you take with
large
Bob Adams.
conference
So they're not necessarily
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
cool.
not like the full-time concentration.
I'm sure there's some value in doing it off-site.
I'll talk to you.
And where you guys are located, I'm sure people would be willing to listen. I'm not discounting that.
Yeah, cool. Who's the best person for me to connect with?
You can connect with me and I can
Yeah,
forward
somebody
it
asked me that
along.
question yesterday.
Could just be,
Come
that's the
by.
one thing I didn't bring.
He was
Like,
asking us about
you gave me
that.
yours.
MBA.
Yes, so just pop me an email.
Yeah, just call me an email and just, here's what I do and
I get full-time.
how I can see
Yeah, all
you
the time.
working
So
with us, like what the value would be, and I can.
I tell them what I know, but I also want to
Sure.
feel like there's.
And then do all of your team members go to that office or does anybody work remote?
Yeah, I feel like that's.
No, we're all based out. Now, we're in, Emmis has 5
A
markets.
lot of people in WP are
But
looking
here
for
in
that
Austin, we're all
concentration, but
based
you're
on
not
the same
gonna get that.
office.
Okay, cool. Because we have some partners,
Even executive.
primarily
You have
nonprofits,
these
so
levels, but it's not like a
it
true
could
concentration.
play out to where they have an allotted amount of co-working memberships and we do an allotted amount of events every year, so they get a discount on event space, they get a discount on food. And then they want to have our community promote them when they're doing this and that, yes, and then those meetings just kind of do overlap.
So if they
I'm
don't
happy to
have
explore
a
them,
years of experience,
for sure.
executive
Cool.
program is for
Well,
them.
pop me an email, whenever you get a chance, and then.
I will, I'll do it this afternoon.
Okay,
It was
thanks.
nice to meet you, thanks for
So that's what
coming.
we say, an information session in the class. The class will expose you to what you're actually
I
doing.
need that.
Chris,
That's so
so you're gonna.
Do it.
I don't have another.
And I didn't see you doze off for too long, so that's a plus.
Oh, I've learned this in my life.
Oh, that explains it.
It's always using campaigns.
That's an art, I mean, that's a gift.
I will say that, honestly, truthfully, because I've been doing campaigns for 15 years, like political campaigns,
And the.
I can sleep anywhere. Sleep anywhere, sleep through anything, sleep at any time.
Doesn't take much, huh? I'm kind of the same way. My wife always gets mad at me because I fall asleep in like 30 seconds when I lay down.
My wife gets mad because we'll have house parties for folks over, and I am notorious about like just Irish goodbyes. Like she calls it Houdiniing, and she's like, "There are people in our house." I was like, "I did not invite them."
Yes, I am aware.
Outside of the network
Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Oh, cool, thank you. I appreciate Absolutely, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
I think you were right. I think it's just one office. I think it's
sort of, it's like, if you want me to work on you, it's on my terms, but it's fine. I looked at pretty capable. No, when I started off, my friends, and a lot of the tech team that I was meeting would always be like, I'm gonna get back to San Francisco. They were like a lot, and so I think for all the real estate,
Bye.
Can you send me something to like?
Here we go.
Yes.
They're having the same issue.
Bye.
Yeah. But anyway, no, that's cool. So someone like that.
Like if you want to look at
That's
it, if you're looking to do inside marketing and contact.
area. Yeah.
I don't know if you'll, how many respond. Let's give them that opportunity.
Yeah.
And then I'm doing, I do not need a Gmail, right?
You do not, but you have to apply for the Gmail waiver, but it's just filling out a form.
Like, or.
And submitting your resume. And you have to.
Cool, thank you.
You have to give us an estimate for the.
Do you recall any technology that I would do all those days?
What I'm doing over the board.
Yeah, we had like, 2015, they had a guy headed called a stoker. Yeah, it was a,
Thanks again,
basically.
I'm gonna get educated.
You need help?
No, man, we got this.
No, we're like,
Oh, that's right.
I'm in the audience.
Well, thank you very much.
And
So like,
thank you, appreciate you being here, man.
I was just thinking, like you something you sell down at
No, I know.
Depot.
Yeah.
This was, it was a full product, like for you to have a wheelbarrow.
Okay.
Cool.
There was like a daily modifier there.
I
I didn't know how
don't know
to
if
do
they've
it.
actually launched it. I've seen it,
Hey, brother.
I've seen pictures.
Yeah, it's just gonna be with us for 2 weeks and now back in your hands.
I know that,
Yeah,
yeah.
so that's
it's
how
sort
we
of-
start. Yeah, so anytime you.
But it's okay if you do, we love you no matter what it is.
But then I you gotta shoot. It's a
But I'll
combination.
never be able to.
Last time.
It seems like a problem for everybody else.
Somebody's already lost my name tag,
The
so it'll
feedback
be
you
okay.
get.
Somebody's lost it.
Yeah, somebody.
If you've done that before,
I
or
do,
you're,
it was
are
not
you
me.
personally,
I mean, I
or
just,
the expert?
I have a hard time
It's close to line with it.
understanding how we lost
Insert this amount of
only
cash.
yours and
Yeah.
yours alone 3 times now or twice now.
That was only one.
I think that's.
No, it's twice, that was the only two.
I never had one of the old.
I mean, for me personally,
No,
like
no.
our company.
You had it for 1 event,
we're way
and
past
then it
the
just
final launch
had to
product,
be
but I
called-
was just
No, it was
curious.
only the new
Because
one.
it's like.
Yeah, that we got at the beginning of
we're
this
coming
year.
up against is,
It was only
you know,
that
you go get
one that I ever had.
You
You
had
never
one.
made one from last year for me.
we
did,
are
because
used
we had a different printing partner.
Yeah, but I never had it.
Right, so
I
we're
never got it.
much better battery.
You lost it.
But I said, especially good.
We have our.
It was never made, I was never ever.
It was,
ever
it
given
was
it.
definitely made, I know it was made.
It's just-
Okay, well, I never touched it. I didn't know anything about that one. I only had the.
It's still finding that match of investors.
Is this
like,
one of
even
y'all's?
Here, it's like, people probably
Not
hear
mine, no.
hundreds, small fortunes, very hard work.
You need help getting anything
I
else?
mean, I'm not kidding. So
Close, I'm just gonna leave it there. I don't know whose that is. No,
I guess fine, but.
I got a horn in there.
There you go.
Sometimes I'll have to go.
Let me see about
Yeah, yeah,
this.
exactly.
Look at capital.
Yeah, yeah.
What industry is your?
We're in, volume device, yeah, so we're like, Sonos,
So you have like
you know,
technology or
yeah.
anything?
Everything.
No, what's the?
Just you just go through, take your.
It's a.
Sure, you have 25 people, what do you think is really
So very good.
Current students is working
You could
on
walk the, I mean, I don't need a formal.
Help get ideas of how to
hard,
how to
essentially like some
what
of
works and what doesn't.
stuff, right? So how do I get
We're definitely-
on the things I definitely need?
I mean, we're
Sort of like financial forecasting,
we're equally
operational, commercialization.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be
Or
like the
more of
schedule
just
bands.
that
Oh,
that way, are you thinking?
Yeah, same
That's
sense.
where we are.
If you can do commercialization.
Kaminsky.
My convinced fund nonprofits.
Yeah, we got
Make
it.
them
It's
work on
working.
these work,
It's working.
I think this.
Oh, cool.
That's right. It's nonprofits,
Okay.
models. It's really commercialization.
Was it his or was he just?
I don't know.
It's actually what's funny is his founder.
So you don't
took
have
the
any
technology
like
that came out of the
thing that you
university,
think about bringing about
commercialized it like we do through
just in
our.
general?
Yeah, cool.
And so,
Get the deeper depth.
my
There you go.
that
We don't
was
take
a really
it.
interesting and unique way to get introduced to technology that you didn't necessarily have to come up with, to learn how to launch that with supporting at least his short-term goals within his organization, and then eventually, hopefully, launching his own product.
Yeah, it's amazing how many people it's been all 5 years, whether it's taking it. I mean, I just met with an entrepreneur last week who spun off from one company and they let him take all his IP that he was developing because it's like they didn't like say, hey, go develop it, he just did it. And I mean, like 4
That's
days
cool.
of
Very nice.
within 4 days of he had 30K already in the thing from.
Is that where this is from?
And he had another 30K. And I was just like, dude, let me help you. Yeah, I was just like, yeah. So, I was just like, I mean, it was he started developing an iPhone prior and launched open source December. But I mean, just it's amazing when he's like a main expert in this area.
So what are you in this company? Like, are you,
I'm
just working there? Or
I'm working. I'm doing fundraising. I'm actually bringing a lot of money.
Yeah, that's very cool.
So,
Well, I mean, what's the name?
It's Thomas and Darden. Yeah. So we're like
Darden heard that name.
yeah, Cube Sound. I don't know if you met Russell, who's our founder. But yeah, we're like what I would be most interested in is connecting with the network of investors. We're past like I really appreciate what y'all do because we're like I can tell with working with founders, like I'm working with 2 founders out of a previous startup, that the whole development life cycle of this is something where they've been so, it's almost project oriented for so long, developing the IP, the product, procuring, like figuring out the supply chain, the procurement, the CMs, the contract manufacturers. I mean, they've done it all. I mean, it's amazing. It's just the final 1% to get the product to market. I mean, the amount of regulatory bodies we have to go through for certifications. It's actually, we have to do FDA approval because we have ancillary storage compartment as part of it. So I mean, it's just the hurdle to get through is much higher. But I mean, it's also like once we're at like market, the product is in such a high state of, and it's also like it demands a high price, right? Large margin. That's very attractive. Absolutely, yeah. So I know we definitely got some best meeting with Apple, like stuff like that. Yeah, it's just like hang through. But trying to sidestep the VC route right now just because the cost of VC equity versus private before we go to a larger series is where we are right now. So,
well, you'll see some VCs because like sometimes promising companies will lock in right of first refusal to initial investors for the seed round.
It's like if you
Series A. Sometimes you'll see
like a pro rata, right?
Yeah. So you'll see a VC will go even at a cut rate go into a promising young company so they can secure their place in that seed.
So yeah, for us, we recognize that as like we want to not be limited, and that because we don't want it's such a like there's some people that like just take any money as much as you can. Well, and for some things, absolutely, especially like, but we're having to be a little more cautious because it is like once you get to the people that do invest in hardware, there's so few of them. That like, you lose a lot of your marketing power. I mean, a lot of your marketing power.
Exactly.
So the private route's been the best so far because it's a deal that leaves the product, the team, and the cost in the market opportunity.
What's your differentiator with, say, some of the wireless?
It's definitely like it's sound, it's quality. It's also like the range, the utility.
Technology that makes it better sound?
There's in the acoustic side, acoustic chambers, the design elements, protections it has, a lot of it. So those definitely help. Now it doesn't mean like, I mean, of course, like our biggest threat is someone who just like says they're small, would knock them off. But the truth is, the actual amount of capital for them to get to the market is very high. They obviously have it, but they would rather see the niche improved and then probably buy us.
So it's cheaper to buy than copy.
Yes, and exactly. And our product, like I'll show you. Yeah, it's like so well designed that people. I mean, it doesn't look like an audio device when you first see it, which is it's a good thing because audio devices are dead. And you can take the handles off. So like, if you want to have it inside, it looks a lot more like a clean look. It's called Cube, KUB. So you can play that video. So this is what we shot. Here, the single thing, I got it in there, here, I'll just.
So are you thinking about getting your master's?
Well, I mean, maybe I'll do that, but right now I'm just, I got this, yeah.
Oh. Oh, that's not a 3 level one, that's a nice, oh, yeah.
The sound, it's like, so. What?
Yeah. You're going for that high end big market, that.
And also, it's like the sound volume is much more substantial than what is in the market right now. More the professional side, and we're bridging that gap.
Yeah.
Between consumer and professional. Yeah.
How much does that run?
3,000.
What's your, is that your only product or?
It's our first, yeah. And we're gonna take a lot of the technology developed and put it into like different products, more mass markets.
Wait, I'm sorry, did somebody just pull?
Yeah, so that was one of the fun
It's
things.
also an ice test?
It has, yeah, insulated storage department, because we realized that like, well, there's actually
If you're gonna love
consumer
something
need for
around.
that if you're listening to music, enjoying outdoors, but also the B2B market.
Right, and if somebody's gonna have to
alcohol and
lug it
beverage
around,
drinks.
they're gonna want it to be functional.
Exactly, yeah.
It's just one more thing to carry.
Yeah, and then if you're like doing marketing and you wanna use it as your PA, you can stick all your stuff in it, carry it, and we have accessories.
Ooh,
and
another
stuff,
use
yeah, all like
case.
that, yeah.
Mhm.
So,
My stuff won't fit in it though,
what is your stuff?
like that. Do you have a cube that
It's close. We have accessory,
Hi Jennifer.
so.
A handle?
Hey,
how are you?
Hi, great, it's great to see you.
Well,
Well,
we don't need all
Does it
that
have
stuff.
wheels?
Yeah.
Of course, it has wheels. You're a
Not
friend.
on the cooler,
Yeah.
accessory does,
I'm
yeah.
doing really great. The accessory pack, like.
So you got like an instant party or presentation, you got the audio for somebody has to speak.
Yeah.
You just walk right up and you can probably.
So we're working with Samsung,
Because the PA is like
audio
80 bucks.
company, and like making sure that we get like the technology down exactly so that you don't have any feedback. So it's like we're almost there with them. But yeah.
So for the mic?
For the mic, yeah. So we have a line in as well.
Yeah, what's new with you?
But
That's awesome, because it's $80 from the marketing standpoint, $80 to rent a PA, plus you have to wait for Austin Rocks to like come and meet them, and some loading deck, which is not necessary. It's not that big. You have to order the stand and like the mic gear. Do you sell mic gear?
what?
Do you sell mic gear? What into it?
The mic here, we're looking at that, how that relationship's gonna be in terms of like, do we sell it through our store or vice versa?
Yeah,
mean,
then I
price,
still
but-
have
yeah.
to do mic.
Yeah, well, what we would do right now, is line it right now. For
But you
line
could
it.
get Samsung.
Yeah, but we're working on a wireless connection, and we're gonna potentially be able to do it through the app, so you could just use your phone. So.
We restrict ourselves to places like this, you can do
Because
anything.
I would still have to.
Yeah, we're getting there, we definitely, the event spaces are similar. So,
You got anything in this space?
yeah, and then, I mean, it's Wi-Fi connected, so you can tether multiple units together, so
Yeah.
you can create a hell of a sound field. Right now, we can connect 30 units together, so, I mean.
However you want to
it's
say
like-
it, however you want to say it.
A long shot, are you working with Nick DiCarlo at Samsung by chance?
And this is not Samsung like Korea, this is the mic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay, what's,
Based in Dallas.
let me ask Russell. That wasn't the name that came to mind, but yeah, Russell's the tech guy, he's the main founder, but, yeah, let me get your card.
Yeah,
It's like,
I think, I have
Hey,
to
can you back my?
yeah, I think we're gonna have to go that thing. It's yeah, teach right again. Just go to the MSTC website.
You actually need to go.
Yeah, I just MSTC now.
you said third.
Yeah, and I talked to Matt about it today. Hey, Jen, are you gonna stay and work here? Okay. I'm gonna
you gonna come to the happy hour tomorrow?
That's tomorrow.
Yeah.
I went last year.
I love, I mean, that you all created this program. How long has it been around? 21 years. 21 years? Yeah. It's amazing.
I started, when I was promoted to IC school year, sort of the business schools think tank, and we're
I've heard of it.
about 6 years ago.
So I wouldn't have been coming to Kate, but was it Sylvie, was it Butler? Yeah. Yeah, that was a character.
He's a character.
He was what, he told one of my classes, but yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Okay, I'll reach out to you. And Wayne.
Sounds great. Okay,
Christopher. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
Sure,
you.
talk to you.
Yeah,
If you're, I mean, if you're interested.
I'm excited about that.
It's a really, yeah. Yeah, it definitely like, I mean,
Part of like where like we're all actually in the like big warehouse and stuff is like it's in that building, right? Okay.
And it's across from the owner. I think the owner owns the hangar and the market.
I wonder if we did a rebranding or something, because I've been over in those spaces
Probably.
before, and it seems to be other things, and
That's like the same.
yeah, I
Yeah.
guess so, yeah. I don't know, I
Probably.
can't keep track, like,
yeah.
warehouses should change so much. There's only like a couple things that have actually been there for a while.
Halcyon, right?
Well, of course, there's Halcyon, and well, that side of the street's actually been pretty steadfast. From like Halcyon all the way down to
But
Shoebox.
the East Love place has changed.
I don't even know what place that is. And then you got the two gay clubs across the street, Open News and Ring. They've been there for a long time.
Yeah.
Everything else on that street
Yeah.
has changed all the time.
Even in the 5 years that we've been here, East Love was like a bunch of other
Yeah. Hangers kind of held for a little while. And then everything on the other side of Colorado has switched hands several times in a while.
It's so weird. To me, it's such a great area.
Or even on the other side of True Lux, the same side of Colorado, but going north from King Street, all of that stuff has all been changed.
Yeah.
There used to be like one really big gay club there. I don't remember what it was. I think well, maybe that and another one before. Honestly, that's not my scene, so I don't really know. I just know that they're there because I've just been around the whole thing. But then there was one, it was like like before it became, it could have been B as the gay club, but then before that, it was not a gay club, and then
It was like, did you go upstairs to get to it?
No, I think that's on the other side of Colorado,
okay,
but on the
okay.
same side as True Lux.
Okay.